following video profile is courtesy of Douglas Ford, 379 Bayfield Street in Barrie. Hey folks, this is Riley for Car Clips Canada. For my debut dealership video, Douglas Ford in Barrie has been kind enough to let me profile this 2012 Mustang Boss 302 Laguna Seca. So as in the previous video, we'll take a look at the outside. I'll make some commentary on the detailing of the styling. We'll take a look at the interior of the vehicle, the drivetrain, and at the end I'll provide a reasonable reflection on the car and some impressions. So let's take a look. This particular Mustang Boss 302 Laguna Seca edition is for sale at Douglas Ford. For more information, you can come into the dealership itself and ask Sal Villardo, the Mustang specialist. He'll tell you all about it. Like all other Mustangs from this current generation, the styling is done to pay tribute to the original Ford Mustangs from the 1960s, which is very much actually the very first muscle car ever made. The Laguna Seca is a special edition Mustang. Only 25 of these vehicles have been imported to Canada, and only the most exceptional, successful Ford dealerships take inventory on them. So some things that are characteristic of the Laguna Seca edition Boss 302. First of all, this color scheme with the electric orange over black is very specialized. The wheels are fully forged with the same racing orange paint. Great big forged disc brakes with six piston Brembo brake calipers at the front, 4 piston at the back. The Laguna Seca emblem is seen on many different parts of the car with the customized license plate from the dealership. Ford Racing exhaust is standard on this vehicle. As well as the tires as well are also special made for this vehicle by Pirelli. And are filled with nitrogen only, not typical atmosphere. Aside from the color scheme, other characteristics at the front. First of all, the classic Mustang emblem is also embezzled on the grille, and there's also a front splitter. The front splitter is also a very noticeable feature of the 302 Laguna Seca. It's something that it does not traditionally appear on other Mustangs, even the more standard issue Boss 302. Only the Laguna Seca comes with that front splitter to improve downforce on the front end. And continuing along to the back of the car is also a livery colored wing as well. That wing is there, as you may be familiar, to create downforce at high speeds to push the back wheels into the road to improve traction. We'll go inside and take a look at the interior. Something quite unique to the Boss 302 Laguna Seca is the car does come with 2 different keys. One key is a standard issue, the other is considered a track key. Both key fobs themselves have the typical lock, unlock, panic, and trunk button. Taking a step into the Boss 302, one thing that you'll notice immediately is the weight saving measures in this vehicle. As typical with most Mustangs, there are 4 seats. That's really the cardinal point of having a muscle car, so it can be a daily driver and a very exciting vehicle to drive as well. However, in the Boss 302, you can see the back seats have been removed in the trade-off for saving weight in exchange for an extra brace at the back. The vehicle does have a manual 6-speed. And start it up, foot on the brake, fully depress the clutch. And the engine noise itself is actually very, very overwhelming almost. So we'll let that heat up a little bit. Make sure all the coolants and oils are circulating before I give you guys an exhaust clip. So the Mustang itself does have 2 automatic windows. And everything is really lined in lightweight Alcantara around the steering wheel, very obvious. Very typical Mustang TriStar steering wheel with full MP3 controls on the side, as well as other mode sets on the other side. Horn. At the top here, one of the things you may have noticed is that there's actually a timing gauge right in the center there. That is for recording lap times, presumably around Laguna Seca, the track where the vehicle was developed. On the left there is an oil pressure gauge, and on the right the relative engine temperature gauge. And as mentioned, the lap recorder in the middle. The door itself is actually lined in a very hard and very lightweight PCB plastic with a quilted vinyl stitching pattern on the side.
You might get excited.
Acrylic carpets, and quite noticeably these racing bucket seats with very deep side bolstering extensions and the Boss 302 logo embezzled near the top. And like I said, in the attempt to keep everything very lightweight, very simple, it does have a very typical Mustang inlay on the center console, full stereo, 1-zone climate control, and up near the air vents there is a very nice metallic textured backsplash. With a Boss 302 aluminum logo. The center console does open quite widely, a lot of storage space there. This rear compartment also does have a 12-volt outlet right there, as well as the auxiliary jack to accommodate an iPod should an owner desire. Additional 12-volt socket is up here at the top. I think at this point, if no one objects, we'll take a look at the engine. So hood releases down here. Let's go take a look. The engine itself is a 5-liter V8, which is fully forged, and much to my surprise, it's naturally aspirated. It's a very large cold air induction right there. The engine itself produces 444 horsepower at the crank and nearly 400 foot-pounds of torque. As I may have mentioned, Ford really went after a few other competing vehicles when developing this one. Just coming back up to the interior of the car. The Recaro raising bucket seats are also adjustable with 2 levers down here. Just slide it forward, as well as a base adjustment right here to raise and lower the seat mechanically. Again, the removal of electric motors to do these things does save a significant amount of weight. Okay, at this point we'll have a look at the trunk and just see how much space the Laguna Seca is endowed with. The button is right here on the center console next to the 6-speed shift. There it is. And taking a look at the back, trunk lid is finished with this matte set against the gloss paint with the Laguna Seca Ford emblem in the middle. Opening it up and we can see actually there is a very significant amount of trunk space in here, all lined again with acrylic carpet. And the custom license plate, of course. The center entertainment console is outlined in a silver, almost a pewter-colored metallic backsplash. And turn the radio on here. It does have a CD auto changer, as well as an auxiliary function to accommodate an iPod, as I showed the jack a little earlier.
Right up to 16th Avenue. Taking a look at the eastbound 401. It's quite busy approaching Mavis because the left lane is blocked.
I just want to point out that well-equipped Mustangs, such as this Laguna Seca Edition Boss 302, does have a very special turn signal style, which I'll show right here. Okay, and just to reiterate, we'll acknowledge the back seat, the back compartment of the car again, which is absent of seats, in exchange for a very strong forward racing brace and 2 embezzlements indicating that these are not spaces to sit, in the pursuit of saving weight and making sure this vehicle is as nimble and as fast as possible. Let's take one last look on the outside of the car. For a final reflection, I think it's important to really drive home the fact that this edition Mustang is really very much the swan song, or the last version of the current Mustang that we know, which reflects the vintage styling of the original 1960s Mustangs. Following this generation of Mustang, there's going to be a brand new model design, which is going to take on a more modern appearance. Because this vehicle was produced in such limited quantities, it is very likely that one day this car will become a classic and eventually appreciate in value. If consumers can locate this car at Ford dealerships, they can anticipate a price upwards of $60,000 to $70,000, depending on the relativity of demand in the region. As I mentioned before, only 25 of these Boss 302 Laguna Secas are coming to Canada, and only some of the most successful dealerships in the country will be receiving them as inventory. In the coming days, I will do a review of the more standard Boss 302 Mustang, so you guys can take a pretty good look at that and make an adequate comparison between the two. I certainly do hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is my very first dealership sponsored video I'll be posting for Car Clips Canada, and hopefully this is the first of many I'll be doing throughout the summer. I do appreciate Douglas Ford for providing this vehicle for me to do a review on. And I will leave you guys now with one last fire-spitting V8 rumble from the exhaust. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. Take care.